Thanks, Dan. So now you have an idea of um, generally how our platform operates from a compliant perspective and from a partner perspective. But let me show you what it actually does in terms of the mission, which Dan just alluded to. The biggest operational win that FormAssembly generally offers is really addressing the scan to digital workflow. So when data is put into FormAssembly forms and services, that record is born digitally. So the metadata is right there. It can flow to downstream systems that you have interconnected to access that data and to prove or verify or whatever processes you may have in place. You're not chasing archivists down months later to try to capture an event set of data. The data is all generally right there. So the record set is compliant from the moment it hits the platform. And I would say that's generally not always a small thing. I know that for some organizations, the process, rather I should say the lag time between the data capture and having a proper record set once it's verified can take time. It's also extremely useful in addressing the paper and PDF administration tax. So, yeah, every time someone prints out a form, fills it out by hand, and someone else rekeys it, people make mistakes. There's human error. Departments change, organizations change, processes change, and it takes a much more streamlined approach to kind of address changes as they come at the source. So it reduces the need for shadow PDFs that you may have to chase down. The data goes right to the system of record. When we talk about enterprise-wide operations, this is where it gets really powerful at scale. Instead of every field office, every regional branch, every department silo, every group having their own kind of intake forms and intake processes, you can deploy standardized templates. You can deploy, take a more unified approach to your data collection so that for all your department functions that happen across your organization, you can kind of standardize that and collect that data consistently and uniformly through FormAssembly. And that standardization really opens the door to some real operational opportunities that go beyond just shifting away from paper-based changes. So one of the most common pain points that we hear is that a form may live in one place, but the system of records is another. So an organization will tend to need some reconciliation to make sure the two are consistent. And where you may have a number of different intake engines receiving that data, collecting it, maybe it's by email, maybe it's another form collector, paper-based, what have you. Reconciling that can be quite time-consuming and prone to errors and mistakes. FormAssembly connects directly to a variety of services. So Salesforce in particular is our bread and butter. That means the system of record is generally the system of truth, assuming that Salesforce is your system of record. And it binds the information in real time as that data is collected. And that's the real strategic advantage right there. Also, as we focus on digital first financial readiness, so now we're thinking about payment collection and how your organization may interact with that. This creates a hard deadline. Agencies need to accept digital payments, move away from paper-based checks, things of that nature. FormAssembly lets you embed secure payment collection right in the form, depending upon how you collect payments, what integrations you have, and what data you kind of want to send where, and may vary on your organization and department, but it streamlines the whole thing kind of end to end, but can also be nuanced and configurable enough to account for different department needs. But compliance isn't always just about payments and security. There's another mandate that really, I would say every single public agency interacts with. And that's accessibility. So the 21st Century IDEA Act is pretty clear in what it's looking for. Federal digital services have to be accessible, and which becomes pretty difficult to meet when your organization may have paper-based data collection, or it needs to maybe adjust those PDFs to be accessible. It just makes things a bit more difficult. Our forms are tested against assistive technologies. So generally our platform works through the web browser. It's readable, so it does meet those WCAG standards, as well as we also have a mobile application as well. So here's the part that really matters. You don't need to, I would say, as a FormAssembly administrator, you don't need to know HTML and CSS to bring that to your form respondents, to the other folks who will be potentially using the platform. Platform natively handles labeling, the right structuring, depending upon your use case. Your subject matter expert can really focus on like building out the forms and collecting the data they need, rather than customizing, different pages to be accessible on a kind of a case-by-case basis. You can read a little more about our accessibility features at formassembly.com/accessibility. Probably has a much more comprehensive overview than I can present. But that said, let me show you a little more about what this looks like in practice. Now I'm going to show you one utility organization that, depending upon where you live, you may have interacted with. And that is the San Francisco Public Utilities. To give a little bit of background on this organization, they had a variety of different groups and departments and functions that were collecting data in a variety of different ways, using different tools, some of them older, some of them newer. And so it became kind of a multifaceted problem. Not only that you had multiple intakes for the collection of data, but also correlating all of that to a system of record and processing something across departments could be pretty painful. Also, there was a lot of overhead involved in verifying the data as it was actually collected, risks for, especially when you think about the public sector needing to get data and response data that's valid from real constituents, as at the same time you're sifting through that data to make sure it's clean, can be pretty tedious. So in steps FormAssembly, we were able to work with them to consolidate everything onto a single unified platform to streamline their data collection, help build them out a number of templates, and help them learn to use our products and services so that they could really empower their admins to capture the use cases that each of their departments and functions